Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Switch Statement Podcast. It's a podcast for investigations into miscellaneous tech topics.
This is episode 10 in our series on the art of game design by Jesse Schell.
Hey, John. How are you doing?
Man. I am doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I can complain, but I won't complain.
Are you ready to play Godland?
I'm ready to play Godland, which we definitely need to workshop that title. But
yeah, that is definitely a working title. But I do kind of like it. It's very evocative.
Well, it's interesting because it evokes images of like, oh, the citizens here are gods, which isn't actually true. But
yeah, the
like,
gods are the ninjas on the side of the board.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, so just to explain what is going on here today, or what our plan is for today, in our previous episode, we talked about mechanics. 2 episodes ago, we kind of worked through some of the rules, and now kind of in the interim, we've tried to cut down some of that brainstorming and prototyping into what we think can be an actual playable set of rules. We're going to try to go through, play the game, we'll record this, and then we'll see how it feels. Is it fun? What pitfalls are there? How can we refine it? But we're gonna try not to like modify the rules on the fly. We're just gonna observe how it is to play, and then we'll note from Jesse Schell's actually like his first chapter about like trying to observe from the side, like in a detached way, how we're feeling about the gameplay. Is it fun or not? That's
right.
What we're going to be trying to do today.
Yes.
But yeah, so the first rule that we decided was that basically you start with a randomized board of the 5 different field types. And so just to remind folks, so this yellow is desert, green is plains, darker green is forest, blue is river, and then there should be a red one here too, which is volcano. And I think we were thinking there was a gray, which that's like a wasteland tile where like it's, and just to reiterate, one core mechanism of this game is that these tiles, you can modify what they are. And so like, and it's basically a spectrum, a water fire spectrum. But let's say you cast a spell. Yeah, let's say I cast a spell on this volcano to the gods have spells, and one of them takes the current tile and then moves it 2 down along the spectrum that it is. So if we have a tile that's already a volcano and the fire god casts Inferno on it, it's supposed to move it 2 in the fire direction. We're already at the most fiery tile. So that would mean that it would become a wasteland tile, which is the 6th tile type. But we don't randomly generate any fields that are wasteland to begin with.
Right.
So, so let's just randomly shake up a couple of these tiles, and then we'll call that like the beginning.
Noise. All right. I will just do my best at simulating a random number generator.
Yeah, it's hard because it's almost certainly not going to be very random. Okay, I think.
Yeah, that looks pretty good to me.
I like this. Okay, nice. So this is a pretty like fire heavy. That's just like a slightly different green.
I know. Here, I got it.
That's a mystery tile.
It's just like a slightly denser forest. That's all.
Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll put the cubes on so basically these are resource cubes. And we talked a decent bit about recipes in our episode when we were brainstorming or prototyping. So just as a simplification, there's only 2 resources. There's iron, which is generated by the desert tiles. Yeah, that's that gray one that John's shaking around there. And then there's wood, which is generated by the Oh, nice. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that you were able to do that.
Yeah, but thank God for grid snapping.
Yeah. And then yeah, wood, which is generated by the force tile. So yeah, and now each one of us is gonna put our little character in the corner here. Let me grab my iron here. This is from the last playthrough. Oh no, that little iron flew off the edge of the board there.
It's gone.
Gotta be a little careful.
Gone forever.
All right. Cool. So I start off with an iron. Basically, right now we just start in these corners. I don't know if we have. The other interesting thing that we discussed or that we decided last time was that people play the gods, right? I think
Yes.
that's what we landed on.
Yeah.
And so, are there always two people on the board right now? Is that how we thought about it?
We talked about.
I think that's what we said actually, and that one person controls the people.
Oh,
One person
interesting.
controls one of the gods, one person controls the other god, and then another person controls the people.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't remember exactly where we landed there, but yeah, let's run with it.
Does that seem reasonable to you?
It seems reasonable, yeah. Because I
Okay.
remember we talked about, the gods, the goal of the gods is to turn as many tiles into their like affinity as possible. So
Right.
So the fire god wants to make volcano tiles. The water god wants to make river tiles. The
Yes.
goal of the people is to make a wonder, basically, or make
Right.
one of the structures.
And right now we have these like temple, like it's a temple of fire, a temple of water, and then
Right.
there's like a temple of steam.
Which the fire temple generally uses the fire guy's resources. The water temple uses the forest resources.
Right.
And the steam one kind of uses a mixture, but more.
It uses them both in equal parts, but you need more.
Right.
So
So this
yeah.
board is like kind of, I mean, it currently is slanted in favor of the fire god's
Fire.
resource.
yeah,
'Cause
so I
there's more,
think
iron on the board.
but this is interesting. Who wants to I guess okay, why don't we do this? Do you want to play Fire God? I'll play Water God. And then
Okay.
we'll just play the people together essentially.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, so we start off with a player turn, I believe. But yeah, so to your point, I would probably go for a Temple of Fire
Yeah,
from this board,
I think that makes the most sense.
and I think what is it, 15 iron and then 5 wood for. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
This is interesting because I actually don't think we need to really change. Basically, I think we want to like protect. I think it's going to be kind of crucial that we don't lose the
The forest.
forest for the trees. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because the guys now can the gods move to the other cardinal directions?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's weird. I guess if the water god was stuck in this cardinal direction, he would be at a disadvantage. Because the way the fire god spell works, or the way both spells work, is they percolate outwards in one direction.
Yeah.
So the fire god can kind of destroy both of these tiles with one spell, whereas the water god would need, 4 spells in order to destroy all 4 of these. But if the water god can go, here, for instance, then he can like affect these. But anyway, it's just an interesting mechanical thing. I kind of like it
Yeah.
actually.
No, I think that's definitely part of it, and basically, so here's another point where it probably makes sense for us to talk about what the effect prayer has. It's basically like a constraint on how the gods can move.
Right.
And I think we also decided that if you prayed to a god, they were not allowed to kill you. Like they couldn't cast a spell that would immediately kill you.
Yes, because gods can basically kill someone if they want to. Like there's
Yeah.
because there is a spell that both gods have that will just instantly kill whoever is on a tile. But the gods are incentivized to keep the people alive because they have
That's
a goal they
right.
want to accomplish, and if they kill the people, the game ends, and they might not have accomplished their goal.
I'm just gonna do this, and
Seems logical because then you can gobble up all these.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if I want to. These are actually kind of well protected. That forest tile in the middle, like the interior forest tile, it's actually very well protected against fire for right now because it's flanked on either side by river.
Yeah.
So okay, so I
right, so
won't pray to anyone.
I'm gonna go here. That feels like a pretty reasonable move.
Okay. All right, and so now the gods always move, and now I play the god. I'm playing the water god, so I think I'm gonna move here, and then, so I just care about maximizing blue tiles. So in a
Yeah.
way, I think the right thing for me to do is cast flood in this direction, and then I think what we said was I put a little blue piece on, and I don't know how this is gonna work, but. All right. I
Wow.
love it. And this is going to turn the next time, like at the beginning of the start of the next turn. Like, I
Right.
think that's what we said. And does that mean that that's going to kill me though? I think that's what we said, right?
Oh. Wait, I thought you had an opportunity to move before it killed you with that spell.
Well, this is I just don't know. I thought the way that we had ironed it out was that it doesn't immediately change it, but then actually before players have a chance to move, it would take effect. So you could block it. You could like you as the fire god could potentially intercept it.
Yeah. Well, let's just play. Let's just see what happens. I'm honestly curious because if one human dies, the other one's still there, I guess.
Yeah.
So we completely nerf the humans, but let's just see what happens. All right. So as the fire god, I am also going to go to this tile
Okay.
or this row, and so I want to produce volcano tiles.
Yeah.
If I cast the super spell on, say, this second forest tile, it will turn it into a desert, right?
Yeah.
But if I cast the super spell on this desert tile, it would turn it into a wasteland, wouldn't it?
I think so. Yeah. So they
Wow.
don't think you want that.
Yeah, I would not want that. It's weird because I feel like what I want to do is cast the super spell on the tile that you cast your spell on because it would turn it into a volcano. But it wouldn't because
No,
your
it
thing is
wouldn't be.
there.
It wouldn't because yeah, there's already. Honestly, if I were you, I might have moved. Well, and it's not that important, but I might have moved two down and then done a propagation spell.
Because it would turn both of these into a volcano.
Potentially,
Yeah. I'm actually going to cast my super spell on the same tile that you cast your spell on.
Okay, wow. So that's really. I mean, it's very clear that my character is
So,
dead now.
yeah, your character dies, and then this turns into a desert, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy. Okay. I think character death is going to be like too easy to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, this is the thing, and this is actually the thing. I think it would be reasonable for us to say propagation spells don't kill players.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
just
that
as
could
a
be.
way to
Well, that would change because one of the main reasons I made that decision is because your character was going to die anyway.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I guess that would have changed that particular decision. So that's definitely a wrinkle. All right, I'm going to do the character turn. So I'm basically just going to move and grab this wood.
Okay. Cool. And so now I don't have I don't have a player, so okay. Do you want to pray to anyone?
Now, if I pray to the water god, he will not attack this row, right?
Well, this is what we said is right now he's already on your line anyway, so I'm pretty sure we decided that it's not
Oh.
possible for him to attack that line anyway.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I will not do anything then.
Okay, how about this? I'm just going to go here and I'm going to cast Torrent on this one, which will turn it into a river tile, right?
Nice. Okay. All right, and I am going to go
Ooh.
here. Ooh, maybe I should go here.
Oh, damn. Wait,
Okay.
okay, hold on. I think this was one thing, and and I'm not sure what we want to do. Maybe we just make a decision in cases where we didn't specify. What do you think about the ability to move? Should players essentially be able to move anywhere?
Maybe there should be a limit. Like maybe, maybe there's like spaces. So I would be moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which seems like way too many.
Well,
So
what I'm thinking, what I've thought about before, and let me know what you think about this, is like you can move as many spaces and then up to the first space on the next edge. You know what I mean? Like, so you as being on that edge, like you could move anywhere on these four sides or the first on either of the other side. Does that make sense?
yes.
So
Although
like,
it does feel strange because, and I don't know, maybe it makes sense, but like you're saying, if I was here, can you see where my guy is right now?
yeah.
I could move here, or I could move here, or I could move to any of these spaces, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. It just feels like, why wouldn't we just say you can move like X number of spots? Like, let's say you can
Yeah.
move 3 spots. So
I
can
like
go
that. I mean, to simplify.
1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just 2. I don't know. Like, we could go with any number. But in any case, moving all the way there did feel a little bit OP. So I'm going to move here, and I am going to cast this spell, which is my weaker spell, which will percolate.
All right, cool. And that's it. So now that takes effect, I believe, on that tile. So that'll turn into a volcano.
Okay, I'm going to do that. Volcano. And then this thing moves forward.
If you want to move, yeah.
Oh.
I know. Here, well, you move your guy, and then I'll put that back.
Okay. Now, do I? Whoa,
Oh,
crazy.
that's perfect.
Do I get a wood because I'm standing on a forest?
Yes, you should get a wood during. So that. Also, we got to get this off because.
Oh, right. Resources get destroyed. Right. Here,
Okay, so then-
grab that.
Yeah, if you want to grab that. Okay, nice. So yeah, got some wood. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna pray to the water god. Sorry, to the fire god.
Okay. Okay. So the fire god cannot occupy a rank or file that you're on.
No, the fire god has to.
Has to move to your
Has to move to
Interesting. But does the fire god get to decide whether they move like to here or here?
I think if they could do either, they can do either.
Okay, cool.
Although this is interesting because I guess I was thinking of in the other way where he could only have been, here. But that was probably a bad move though. What I was thinking is like if he casts propagate in this direction, then nothing happens because it's a river.
Right.
But-
right.
So then, I don't know. But he can't kill me, and that's already a volcano tile. So, but I guess he could just inferno one of these
Yeah.
2 river tiles, which actually isn't terrible.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's probably a smart move for him, maybe. I don't know.
But it's probably something that he wouldn't do, right? Because he just he's not worried about the presence of river tiles as much as he's just like, give me that fire.
Yeah, I feel like what he would do is move here and cast, like, propagate.
Okay, interesting.
But that's,
Yeah, right. And I think that should be possible based on what we just said.
Yeah. So, importantly, he could not move here, which is where he really would want to go.
That would be nice for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So and so that's the end of my turn. I prayed to the fire god.
Okay.
And so now I think what we discussed was that gods that have been prayed to move before gods that have not been prayed to.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, okay.
So
I am gonna
go.
go here, and I'm actually gonna cast Propagate again, which actually puts two things on this, which is interesting.
that's interesting because that shouldn't have been possible because it should have moved to the next one, right? Oh, wait a minute. I see. Because this one is going, and I actually thought about this. I think we're gonna want like a directional,
Yes. Yeah.
like a triangular token.
You're absolutely right. We need a directional thing because one's going one way, one's going the other way.
That's hilarious. Wait, so
But
does that mean this one's gonna move two on the next turn?
I think so, which is kind of cool. I don't mind that.
Man, so is there a limit to that? I guess you could wind up with four, right?
I don't know because you'd have to really work hard as a god to like triangulate
Time it.
four. I honestly don't know if it's possible because you can only move three things. You'd basically have to have tiles moving in all four directions.
Yeah,
I don't think it's possible.
I think you could probably get three.
Yeah,
I
you
think
might be
it
able to
feels
get
like
three.
there's a way to do three, but
That should be. You should just win the game. That should be a winning
Oh.
condition.
right. It doesn't matter what anyone else has done. If you do that, you win. I like it.
God insta wins. Okay.
Okay. All right. So then, okay. I guess I move. I don't really like what's going on over here, though, and no one has prayed to me. So, but I don't know if I don't like it from because it's not actually impacting a blue tile.
Weirdly, you could move. You could move here and then cast your super spell, and it would kill both of these percolators.
Yes.
I somewhat feel, and this isn't just because I'm playing as the red player, but I feel like the super spell is a little too powerful. Like there needs to be some limit on it. Like maybe the range should be.
Well,
limited.
this is actually an interesting thing. Like, I felt like, do we need a mana or something where, or like, is there a cooldown maybe? You can only use it once every other turn at max.
Wait, I kind of love the idea of mana because maybe you gain more mana when someone prays for you.
Ooh, okay. I love that.
Yeah, because that would really, and maybe it slowly replenishes even if someone doesn't pray for you, but that enables a little bit more influence from the human side, which I like. I wanted for this game for the humans to be able to like influence the gods in very indirect ways, and that feels like it fits within that theme.
I do really like. I am liking how prayer is shaping up because,
Yeah.
like, it's funny because the gods are incredibly powerful, but they have these weird like arcane
Right, which-
limitations.
just from a lore perspective, I also love that. Like, I love the idea of gods which have these bizarre, rules that they've probably put on themselves.
Yeah.
But like, they're just these weird rules to keep their lives interesting because they live for eons and life gets boring.
Yeah. Okay. So, but we're not going to change that right now. But let me. All right. I'll note this.
Well, we never. What do you think about a limitation on? Like, I don't want to introduce mana right now because that feels like an insane thing to introduce.
The other thing that concerns me about mana a little bit is just maintenance of the like keeping track of mana. Like, oh, how much mana do I have? I mean, and I guess you could just do it as little cubes.
Yeah, you could have the god itself have like a die on it or something, and you just kind of increment the die.
Yeah, that feels annoying. I did kind of like the just every other turn idea, just from a pure like simplicity perspective. But I guess that's also complicated because you need to like, oh, did I cast that last time?
Yeah, it's weird. I actually dislike every other turn. Yeah, for that reason, because you have to sort of keep track of this. I don't know.
I think I like the cubes the most, where you literally just what someone prays, and actually, there's kind of this duel where it's like the human prays, and that's a resource for the gods. Let's just play it out with the ultra powerful, and then just see what happens because it's still balanced. Like both god have the same thing.
That
All
makes
right.
sense to me.
So do you think that the other spell, the propagation spells, would not use any mana, or would it be like 1 and 2?
Yeah, I think the propagation spell should use one because we're saying you gain at least one every turn, right?
I think that's I. We didn't say that, but I think both of us like kind of just intuitively like
Yeah.
assumed
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I definitely just assumed that, but in which case, I think casting the propagate, you should be able to do that every turn. Although this does introduce an interesting possibility, which is where maybe the god doesn't cast any spell on a turn because they want to accumulate more mana.
Well, that's not allowed.
That's not allowed. Okay.
At least in the current rules, the god always has to cast something.
Right, which I do kind of like as a, just a strange limitation or restriction.
Yeah.
But it does mean that you can only cast the powerful spell if someone was actively praying for you on the reg.
Which actually is what I liked about it, where it's
Yeah.
like unless someone's praying for you, like that's not an option to you.
Yeah. It reminds me of that TV show, like American Gods or whatever, which is actually a Neil Gaiman comic, so I shouldn't
Yeah.
call it. Anyway, okay, cool. So what
But
do
it's
you
interesting because another way you could model that is there's no mana, and anytime someone prays for you, you get a like Inferno token or something. You get
Yeah.
the ability because isn't that the same thing functionally?
I like that, yeah.
All right. Well, for today, I'm just going to cast Torrent on that tile, and then both of your propagation. And this is interesting because I was trying to be like a purist and be like, oh, I only care about making more blue tiles, but like it's still in my best interest to stop you from generating more red tiles, right?
I think so. I don't know. It is weird too because the secondary spell is so much more powerful than the propagate spell. Like it basically I just wonder about the balance of this cuz
You're saying because now I'm able to cancel 2 of your propagate spells.
yeah, it feels like the secondary spell can undo like multiple turns worth of work, which is maybe okay. I mean, especially if we're going to have some limitation on it. It makes me wonder, and I guess there's reasons why you would cast one spell over the other. But anyway, let's keep going. I'm liking
Okay.
this. I'm liking the whole not changing anything. Okay, so these just go away.
Yeah, those go away. There's nothing on there yet. So did you move?
I did not move, but I am going to move here, and I'm going to cast my super spell on the green tile, turning it into a volcano. All right, so now
I
we
see.
generate-
So it sounds like maybe we're arriving at this degenerate state where people are, well, and this is to your point, like people are only casting the super spell.
Yeah, I think the super spell is a little too powerful. I think we should nerf it in some way. And since we nerfed God movement, I actually like the idea of putting a range on the super spell.
Okay.
Because
So-
that would mean
okay.
the god would have to move somewhere. Because I actually kind of like that once the god moves somewhere, like they're stuck there, sort of. It takes them a few turns to get somewhere else.
Yeah.
So there might be synergy between nerfing god movement and nerfing the range.
One of the things I do like is that it's still always possible to align yourself, unless you start on the line of the player. It's always possible to move enough to align with a player who prayed to you. Like that's
Yeah.
the one thing that I would want to ensure.
Yeah, which is why I like 3. 3 feels like a good number for movement.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now it's the player's turn, and I think it's yours.
Okay, cool. So this generates. I get a wood.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of wood. I'm wondering if I should just try to build the wood temple. So I'm just gonna walk right back here.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't. I see what you're saying. Yeah, you still have a decent. You need 15 wood for the, which I guess. Yeah, I mean, given what we have thus far.
I'm also just thinking that I don't see the gods changing these 2 tiles for a while, so I feel like I can kind of camp here and gather a bunch of wood. But I
Okay.
don't know. Could be wrong. I guess
Yeah,
you
the other
might
thing,
want to blast the tile and turn it into water. So
when I die, do you get my resource? Because that also
yeah, I like that. I feel like we've discussed whether resources should be like a shared pool or not.
now with the like one person controls both people, I think a shared pool makes more sense.
Yeah, I like it. That's weird too because that means that the god, like I just keep wondering what would incentivize a god to kill a person, and I think by killing a person you basically double the length of the game potentially. So that's one strong incentive to kill a person,
Oh, interesting.
to maybe give yourself more time. Although what's weird about the god's goals is they can't possibly achieve their goal because the other god can always foist them. You know what I mean? Like if I'm the water god and half the tiles are water and I'm just trying to turn one more tile into water, like the fire god can always prevent me from doing that, I feel.
And this is where prayer becomes this like interesting thing because it allows you to move first. Oh, interesting, but I guess you don't want to move first.
Oh, maybe not because I feel like moving first is a disadvantage.
Well, it depends. I mean, sometimes maybe if you pray, you get to choose when you want to go.
Oh, okay. I like that.
We want to spin prayer as like a good thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Prayer should benefit the god, I think. Or there is another way of looking at it where prayer just forces some condition that's usually beneficial, but maybe sometimes isn't beneficial, and I think that's could be interesting. It's kind of like in chess. There's a thing called Zugzwang, which means you have to make a decision every turn in chess, and sometimes making a decision does not benefit you, which is called
I see.
Zugzwang. You're forced to make a bad decision, basically.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cast a super spell on. Yeah, I'll just move here, and then cast a super spell on this one, which that takes it to forest, right?
Isn't it plains?
No, because sorry, it's the this yellow one here.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that-
Okay, so that would be forest.
Oh damn! I used the imposter forest.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
and then
going to
just
go
go
here and turn this into a volcano. But we need to work out a way that the gods, and I guess that's what prayer will do. Next time we try this, we'll add the prayer mechanic, and we'll see if maybe that enables one god to win the game. Although, as a human, why would you pray for a god if they're about to win the game? That's interesting.
How is a god about to win the game?
Isn't the win condition for a god if they get more than half of the tiles to be their affinity?
I think so. Also, we didn't run into this scenario, but didn't we say people can't be on the extreme of the tiles?
Yeah, people can't occupy a volcano or a river.
So in a way, it's like at by that point, you'd imagine that almost all the tiles were one of the extremes anyway. So like, are they dead already? Probably.
Maybe the gods get points every time they create a tile of their affinity or something. Because they would just cast a super spell over and over to create them.
Okay, let's think about this. I think okay, let's do a quick recap. We didn't get to an end here. I think what we could start to see is like there's kind of this lame steady state, especially once one of the people is dead,
Yeah.
where the gods are like, all right, well, I don't really care about anything anymore. Like the interesting things or stuff stopped happening.
Since we have one player that plays as all the humans, I do feel like there's interesting possibilities we could play with. Like we talked a while ago about having a Gaia god, where the Gaia god would like produce life, and maybe the Gaia god can make more humans or something. And so, because I do feel like the gods having complete control over how many humans are on the board is a little strange. because one god can just unilaterally, you know, make it so that there's only one human left.
Why doesn't one of the gods just insta kill both players immediately?
Yeah, and I think that's where the gods should have to. They need to meet some win condition that I feel like having more than half the board their affinity is just a difficult condition to reach, first of all, but it's also like it feels like it's going to create degenerate gameplay where the board is just going to turn into this uninhabitable place for the humans.
Right. Which potentially we should relax the, like, they can't step on the extreme tile.
Maybe. I mean, we're already adding a cool mechanic with the mana where I think that will prevent some degenerate gameplay where the gods can just kind of alternate back and forth, turning a tile from volcano to water or whatever.
Maybe they can only cast it in the first 2 rows, like in front of them.
I like that. Yeah. It's almost like it has a range. I mean, should it be like a radial range? You know what I mean? Like if I'm here, I can cast it like 2 tiles away. So like 1, 2, 1, 2.
Oh,
1,
interesting.
2. I don't know if you can see what tiles I'm highlighting.
Kind of. I see what you're saying though. So I feel like that messes up a little bit with the, like, or it starts to play with, like, there's this very, like, I operate on the line in front of me, and we obviously don't need to, but
No,
that starts to, like, break that.
I do like that. But I feel like these mechanics that we're introducing are going to incentivize using the percolation spell more, which I think makes the game more interesting. I think the percolation spell is just a more interesting thing to happen because it kind of has this, like, it's like difficult to fully comprehend what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Because it takes place over multiple turns and the board can shift while it's happening. And I think it's just more interesting.
Yeah.
So I sort of like that it incentivizes that more.
Should we get rid of the super spell? Like, why don't we just do that?
Maybe.
Like, I think we should play around without the super spell.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's even better than introducing mana. It's like instead of adding a new mechanic, you're just removing a mechanic. You're simplifying.
I think that could be interesting.
I
Like,
like it. I think
because
it's a
it's
great
like,
idea.
as you, to your point, like, I don't know, it seems like the more fun thing to play with and, like, surprising.
We did have a rule about the percolation. Yeah, I was disappointed that double percolation got canceled because I wanted to see what was going to happen. We talked about, though, that the percolation stops when it hits certain tiles,
Yeah.
which,
I don't think we got into that situation here.
no.
But, like, if you cast a fire spell, like, it would stop when it hits a river.
But it would still turn the river into a plains? Or
No.
it doesn't
No.
even change the river?
That was what I proposed. It doesn't even change the river.
Oh, okay. That's super interesting. So
Right.
a river
Okay. So
is-
that's why I think that's why we kind of needed the super spell, because you needed a way. But maybe we could relax that.
Yeah, I mean, I like that it stops the percolation, but maybe it does, so it changes the tile into a plains, but it also stops the percolation.
I like that.
We can try that at least.
The reason why I added that rule was because I felt like things were going to be, like, shifting too much. Like, I wanted
Yeah.
some sort of stability, or, like, a way to create stability.
I think that makes sense. I like that. Yeah, I think that's a good principle to abide by.
Okay, so it sounds like, let's just really quickly, like, so the rules that we wanna try next time are no super spell, right?
Yeah, let's try it out.
And then so propagation shouldn't kill players. Well, we'll not do that now that there's no super spell. Gods can move 3 spaces. Prayer, okay, and then no mana. So, all right. Were there any other major rule variations that we wanted to?
I don't think so. I love that we're not changing that much. And if anything, we're just removing stuff, which I I think it's good. I think I like you mentioned this earlier, which I think is such a good idea. If we're like thinking about adding something, we should actually think about what we could remove in order to not have to add that thing.
All right, but yeah, and maybe we can play around with the Gaia god. I do like the idea of potentially adding new gods back to this eventually.
There was something that felt symmetrical, kind of balanced about having a god on each cardinal direction. I feel like it also just makes the lore of the game a little bit more interesting for some reason. I don't know why I think that, but yeah, we should definitely keep that idea on the back burner and let it, mull it over.
I think we'll get there at some point. So
yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we'll wrap that up for today, and then see you all next time.
Yeah, see you next time, and see you, Matt.
All right, see you, John.